Ladies and gentlemen, today we're covering Season 2, Episode 7, May the Best Pet Win, which is the episode in which Rainbow Dash runs a lot of different pets through a series of obstacle courses in order to determine the best possible, most awesomest, most coolest, most... Oh, where'd they go? Oh my god. Hang on. Why are these... What the... Most radicalist pet imaginable. Because only the most coolest, radicalist, amazingest, awesomest pet with the best stick-to-itiveness could ever possibly be my pet. Yes, yes. So, I do rather like this episode. Why do I have a tentacle arm, Prometheus? I do rather like this episode, as is probably self-apparent. But this is kind of a weird one to talk about because I feel like they don't really do a good job of getting across the message. I did notice that, actually, Weouts, and that is, in fact, something that'll come up later, too. Her situational awareness is through the roof, which is good. In D&D terms, Rainbow Dash is heavily specialized in perception, which is something you can actually do. Roll perception. All right, hang on. Let's see. Well, I actually got a 2. But it's okay, because I have plus 10. I totally see things. Anyways. One thing I do like is that she really gushes about how much she enjoys flying. You catch that at the beginning? During her dream? I mean, I know that sounds like a minor thing, but too much of fiction, and frankly real life, tends to portray things as losing their luster after a while. It's like... Yeah, okay, I mean, yeah, I can fly, but whatever, right? I mean, it's not a big deal, you know, I guess. It's kind of cool. I'm one of those weird people who thinks that that shouldn't necessarily be a thing. I mean, yeah, you could get tired of eating Reese's Pieces all day, every day, if you were to do that, but, I don't know, I'm the kind of person who I still tend to appreciate and enjoy things as I get them, you know? I like that kind of gushing, basically. And so the fact that she's still gushing over flying is something I think that is awesome. I really hate this green screen. Oh, we'll get to the crisis, too, because the crisis is dumb. By the way, how does she nap on a branch? Like, I mean, first of all, there's the fact that she doesn't fall off, which is impressive in its own right. But then in addendum to that, there's the fact that that doesn't sound what I would call comfortable. You ever try to hang out on a branch? I have, not in a long time, admittedly, but you know, I remember being like, and you just get to the point where you just kind of wrap your arm around the trunk, like, okay, just gonna kind of have that stabilizing element there. There we go. Actually, one of the things I would think it would be really cool that I wouldn't put beyond the animators is if they did something like her wings are just kind of wrapped around behind her. Around the branch that she's on, so her wings are basically stabilizing her as she's laying there. Just a little touch. This episode has lots of little touches in general. Did you notice, by the way, two things that caught my attention, and I had to go pull up an older episode to verify. First of all, you notice Applejack's freckles are properly animated for the first time ever. But also, second of all, did you notice that when Fluttershy, she's like pawing the ground, which is an old animation, there's actually little dust clouds now? I really love the attention to detail in this show. Or any show that does this kind of thing, really. But I love that sort of thing. Anyways. So, Rainbow, naturally, is looking at this and, like, you know, looking at all the fun they're having with their pets. And she's like, hang on a second. This is unacceptable. I, too, have the right to have fun. And then Fluttershy becomes adorable for, like, 10 solid seconds of just, oh my gosh, yes, you want to pet it. It's so amazing. And not only is that adorable in its own right, I bet a lot of us can actually relate to that. Really. How many of you have something, anything really, that you're really into? I imagine basically 100% of the people watching this have at least one thing you're really into. Now imagine that a good friend of yours, or someone you're close to, or a family member, whatever, expresses interest in that thing you're really into. Picture that feeling in that moment. I remember, this is going to sound so geeky, but I remember the first time my sister expressed interest in watching the Star Trek movies with me, and my response was basically something along the lines of, yeah, Okay, yeah, yep, no, yeah. Let's get some food. Let's get dinner so we can eat while we watch. Now we're gonna start with one. Do we want to go through the worst stuff, or do we want to go chronological? And I started discussing the whole thing with her as we were driving to get food. I was jazzed. She even liked the films. Yeah, they're going to know about the Visigoths, damn it, and how that played into the whole Northern Kingdoms element, and how that caused the Gauls to have issues. And we're going to go into it, by God. So yeah, I thought that was very, very cool. Good morning, Seraphim. So, is it me, or is this the first actual musical song in MLP? It's not the last. They'll be doing the best day to remember or whatever, the song that the Bug Queen, I can't think of any names, she sings that. That's a musical song, and I'm pretty sure the Cider Squeezy episode of season 2 as well, which is also a musical song. Chrysalis, thank you, Queen Chrysalis. God, I can't think of anybody's name today. But I feel like this is the first musical song the show has had. They've had songs, but they've been songs. A musical song is a song that's basically supposed to be a part of the show and telling the story as things go, not just a song about an idea or a concept like Winter Wrap-Up or whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like this is the first time they did that, and it will be a very recurring trend going forwards. Whether it's good or bad, that's up to you and your opinion of musicals. So, I was paying attention during the song. The camera really, really kept focusing on Tank the entire song. Did you catch that? I could see that, Lord Harrowmont. I admittedly don't think of that as a musical style song, but I could see that, so I'll give it that. So we're up to the second then. We will stand forever free. I'll have to look at that later. Anyways, so yeah, Tank is super adorable. Yeah, there was that great bit where Rainbow's like, I need a pet that's cool, and Tank pulls his head in and then pulls his head out, and he's got the shades on. Tank is awesome, by the way. Tank is the best pet. Which leads me to Pokemon. Anybody else get any really strong Pokemon vibes from this episode? In a good way. You know, everyone's like, ah ha ha, we have to capture creatures and force them to fight each other, and those people are stupid. But I love the idea of one of the things that's been a long-standing concept that the creators of Pokemon have posited, and that's the idea that Pokemon want to have trainers. Like, they want to be a part of that partnership. That's actually the canonical reason why Pokemon attack you in wild grass, is because they're like, ah, and they want to show off and prove that they are good enough to be captured and to have a trainer. Because the word I like to use instead of pet is the word partner, because it implies more, in my opinion. And I think that's especially relevant here, because most of these pets do appear to be closer to partners than, you know, pets. You'll also notice they exhibit a large amount of intelligence and emotiveness. In fact, is this just the point of these being sentient and sapient? I mean, we could argue that based on what we show here. Anyways, as Sean points out, yeah, Fluttershy is definitely kind of the here, let me get animals homes kind of a person. She had a hell of a spread there. I'm looking at my notes. What? So, speaking of Pokemon and idealized worlds, if I ever needed to prove that My Little Pony is an idealized world, the only thing I would have to point to is the fact that one of the options for a pet was a frickin' wasp. For those of you not aware, wasps are mean murder machines. Like, a bee in general will only come after you if it has some reason to. It'll only sting you if it has to. A wasp will come after you because screw you. Because you happen to be in visual range. They are hyper-aggressive. And they are mean suckers. But no, we can have a wasp as a pet. What? Yeah. But yeah, notice they all can speak English and understand Rainbow Dash as she's talking, so... Yeah, the wasps are just some of the worst insects in all of the world, and this show somehow made an adorable little wasp thing. Oh my god. Frickin' wasps. So, they should! Imperial Star Destroyer. No offense. Wasps, I have taught my niece about this at an extremely young age. She knows about wasps. Not to infer fear into her, but caution. You see a wasp, you leave the vicinity. That's just the rule, basically. If she sees a wasp, all she has to do, if we're out walking or whatever, all she has to do is to say, wasp, and I will immediately grab her hand, pick her up if I have to, and we will turn around and go the other way. Yeah, wasps are mean. So anyway, sorry. Let's stop talking about horrible stuff. Wasp is a pet. It's just, God. Speaking of wonderful things about this world, you'll notice that a lot of people take time off to watch a contest amongst animals who want to become someone's pet. Now, if you're not really catching that, I really want you to sit and process the idea of taking time off to go watch your friend set up a contest amongst animals to see which one is going to become their pet. And I want you to think of how incredibly unlikely that is within your schedule. I don't know, maybe some of you guys have less busy schedules than I do. Actually, probably all of you have less busy schedules than I do. But you get my point, right? I would have liked that too, yeah. That would have been awesome. Just have some extra ponies come in and be like... Yeah, Rarity does have a job. It's worth noting. In fact, I believe in Season 2 she's going to get a second job, which will eventually blossom into a third job in the future. And I mean, Applejack has a job too, while I'm on the subject. She has to manage an entire farm with a huge acreage. And Pinky helps out at the corner. I don't know what Fluttershy does. I guess Fluttershy just takes care of the fun. Point being, they still take time out for this. That's an idealized world right there. Anyways, so, is it just me or is the monarch butterfly absolutely adorable? It was one of the cutest pets, the whole thing, for me. I loved the way they portrayed the butterfly. It was super cute. Anyways. So I do have an actual topic for today's episode. Now, I do like this episode a lot. It made me laugh quite a bit. I thought about writing down all of the jokes that made me laugh. But it started getting old. Because there's quite a few jokes that got a laugh out of me. But the topic, I feel... So obviously the point of the episode, this is a take on the rabbit and the hare. Or, excuse me, the tortoise and the hare story. It's a different take on it, which I like. But... Yeah, we know she helps out with the actual animal doctor too, Vigilant. That comes up in a future episode. The overall message of the show is intended to be like, you know, you need to care about your animals. You need to have love and affection for your pet, and that's a good message for kids who are watching this. You know, a kid should actually love their pet. I agree with that. And in fact, there will be a future pet episode which covers another very good lesson for kids. So I'm with that. But there's this bit where Twilight says care and attention, love and affection. These are the things that really matter with a pet. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of disagree. Because to me, from my experience, what most people want in a pet is what they want out of a pet. They want pets for different reasons. Let me use a parallel. Can any of you name a Pokemon that you like specifically just because it's cool? Just because of cool factor. Or a Pokemon that you like to use because it looks neat or whatever. I can think of several. And a lot of my own personal favorites have become my favorites because of the way they look or the way they sound or whatever. I actually love that too, yeah. She should be. That's a good lesson too. You should be careful about picking a pet. The method she uses is a little cartoony, but you should be careful about picking a pet. You shouldn't just go, that. Unless you see a box of kittens by the grocery store, although I don't think people do that anymore. I haven't seen someone do that in... ...12 years now. Because that's, I was out with my dad's wife, and we saw a kitten in the box, and we went ahead and took her home, and that's the cat they had for about 10 years. Really, Ovane? Jesus Christ, people. Yeah, I do like the lesson that a pet is a responsibility that you should take care of, because a pet is a responsibility that you should take care of. So, yeah. Anyways. But my point I'm trying to reach here is that I feel like the episode is a little bit too dismissive of Rainbow's overall thoughts. Granted, Rainbow does end up liking Tank, and that's nice, and she and him obviously do bond very strongly, but the point I'm trying to reach here is that Rainbow can want her own pet for her own reasons, which fits her, and the episode just keeps kind of trying to shuffle her towards Tank. Now that works. She does end up working with Tank, but there's nothing wrong with her wanting a cool, awesome, or radical pet. Not really. As long as she's actually willing to commit to it, which is the real catch here. And I think she's willing to commit, considering how much effort she's putting into this. In fact, I gotta be honest, when I first saw this, even despite the obvious emphasis on Tank, I thought she was going to end up with the Falcon. Oh god, Aethel. I know several people who have, I think they're called muskrats. And they basically just kind of, leave them in their area, and that's about all they've got, because they're such mind machines of doom. I was actually surprised by the owl, because we already have an owl pet, Aloysius. Anyway, so I wrote down, as we were going through, the speed contest, the Falcon wins. Agility contest, the Hummingbird wins. Although I love the bit where Tank's like, and the camera goes like this, and then back to him. Guts! The butterfly wins guts. Although, if you're paying attention, Tank win that one too, so that's nice. Nobody really won the style contest, I thought was interesting. The eagle won the coolness contest. The owl won the awesomeness contest, and the bat won the radicalness contest. I'm just pointing this out because it's interesting which ones they picked to win which contests. And it does actually show how, just depending on the metric you're using, different animals are going to qualify in different ways, especially ones that can understand you and basically understand. Like, they can't speak English, but they can make themselves known. There's actual communication going on here. Anyways. Who set up the obstacle course for Tank, by the way? Tank's like, I got this! So, for some reason, the Owl, Falcon, Eagle, and Bat are the finalists, which is strange, but whatever. I guess they wanted all the flyers. Fluttershy. Yeah, Fluttershy probably set it up. That's true. I could be wrong, but isn't this the first time they've show off Ghastly Gorge? I know it's going to be a semi-recurring thing going forward. I don't remember if Ghastly Gorge has been in the show before, so I'm speaking from ignorance here. Either way, they show off Ghastly Gorge. Rainbow Dash is very overdramatic, which will come up in a minute. Rainbow actually whistles right along to Ride of the Valkyries as she's going through. So, let's cut to the point that Lord Harrimont mentioned earlier. There's a rock slide. Rainbow freaks out. Why? Now, she talks about how she's stuck here forever. First of all, no, she isn't. As we actually see shortly after this, as soon as Rainbow doesn't cross the finish line, they notice within seconds, and then seconds after that, discover that there's the rock slide. So they immediately are ready to go rescue her. Within, I remind you again, seconds. No, she was fine. There's also the possibility that she just doesn't like the fact that her wing was clipped. Although, frankly, if he could just dig under the rock, she could probably get her wing out. And I had the thought that maybe she was just being a drama queen or not really thinking long term, but I actually like Vigilant's idea better. That she was freaking out because this isn't what this was supposed to be. You'll notice that she's completely blasé about everything because she knows everything she's dealing with right up until the rock slide, which is an unprepared variable, something she hadn't planned for. And that actually speaks to Rainbow Dash in a nutshell, doesn't it? If she knows what she's doing, completely cool. I don't mean cool as in cool, I mean cool as in calm and collected. No issues. Yeah, okay, sure, I'll do this and this and this. It's when things go off the rails that she tends to freak a little bit. This has actually happened before and will happen in the future, too. So it kind of makes a degree of sense to me that she's basically wigging out because of the fact that this is an unexpected variable that she didn't know how to deal with. And because she's a drama queen. I mean, they're all drama queens to some extent or another. I shouldn't use that because that's kind of an insult, but you know what I mean. I mean, what is life without drama, right? So then Tank shows up. I'm sorry, I just have to mention a couple of the jokes that really amused me here. First of all, yeah, woo, woo, as you, yay, huh, woo. Second joke, Fluttershy says, "Look, it's the turtle," and everyone else says tortoise. And Fluttershy's like, oh, whatever. And of course, the third joke I had to write down, which they just rapid fire these towards the end of the episode. Look, we've got you your perfect pet. It can fly, and it's not a squirrel. Should we sing about it again? So, she sticks with the turtle, who has the perfect amount of stick-to-itiveness. Excuse me, tortoise. And it gets a little helicopter thing, which is cool. I'm curious what powers it. It could be a form of magitech, you know, literally, it's a helicopter rotor and someone magically enchants the thing to fly. I'm curious how exactly he navigates. How does he aim himself, you know? Yeah, the Falcon was a class act. I actually agree with that. Falcon walks up to Tank, shakes his hand, walks off, forlorn, dejected. Someday the Falcon will have a pony. I like Weoud's idea earlier. I like the idea that other ponies would have gotten some of the other pets in the background. Wait, so magic can be powered by friendship? I don't think that fits in this setting. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me go ahead and chop off the little recording.